All right, let's get right into it. We are tackling one of the biggest and honestly one of the most confusing buzzwords in the tech world today, Web3. So, what is it really? Where did it even come from? And why should you care? Well, we're going to find out. If you've ever heard the term Web3 just tossed around in a conversation and you've kind of felt like, wait, am I missing something here? You are so not alone. It's this idea that I swear everyone is talking about, but almost nobody can explain in a way that makes sense. So that's our mission today. We're going to break it down and demystify this thing piece by piece. So, to really get a grip on what Web3 is supposed to be, we've got to go back, like all the way back to the beginning. We need to figure out who cooked up this idea, and maybe even more importantly, what was the big problem they were trying to fix in the first place. And here he is. The name behind the term is Dr. Gavin Wood. He's the one who first coined the phrase Web3 way back in 2014. And you gotta understand, it wasn't a product or company, it was just an idea, a vision for what the internet could be. And look, this wasn't just some random guy having a thought in the shower. Gavin Wood is the real deal. I mean, we're talking about a co-founder of Ethereum, the guy who created its programming language, Solidity. So, to put it simply, when someone like him starts talking about where the internet is heading, people who know their stuff, they tend to listen. And this quote right here, this really gets to the heart of it all. His vision wasn't about, just a faster or prettier internet. No, he was thinking about something fundamentally different. An internet where the power shifts, away from a few giant corporations and back to us, the users. The whole point is that you, not some company, you control your own data, your own identity, your own destiny online. Okay, that vision sounds pretty amazing, right? But it begs the question, what was so broken about the internet we were already using? Why did a guy like Gavin Wood look at it and think, nope, we need to tear this down and start over? Well, the answer really boils down to one simple word: centralization. See, the internet we all use today, what people now call Web 2, it didn't start this way. It began as this wide-open, free-for-all space. But slowly, over time, just a handful of massive companies, you know who they are, basically took over. They now control the platforms, they control our data, and they make all the rules. And this table, this breaks down what that centralization actually means for you and me. First, data ownership? Nope. The platforms own and sell your information. Censorship? A company can just decide to delete your content or ban you. Single points of failure? Absolutely. If one of their servers crashes, poof, your stuff is gone. And monetization? Well, users create all this amazing content, but they see very little of the profit. Web3 was literally designed to be the antidote to every single one of these issues. Okay, so if the big idea is that simple, just give the power back to the users, then why on earth is Web3 still so confusing for everybody, right? Let's unpack exactly why this whole thing got so messy and hard to pin down. Okay, reason number one. Web3 isn't just one single thing. You can't just point to an app and say, that's Web3. It's more like a big soup of different interlocking technologies. You've got blockchain, you've got cryptocurrencies, NFTs, these weird things called DAOs. It's a whole bunch of concepts all mashed together. And because of that, it just feels totally overwhelming. And then, of course, the hype train left the station. Around 2020, 2021, Web3 just exploded. It became the hottest marketing buzzword out there. All of a sudden, any project that had anything to do with crypto just slapped a Web3 label on it, even if it had nothing to do with decentralization. And that right there just completely muddied the waters. Reason number three, and let's just be honest with ourselves, the tech is complicated. To even dip your toes into Web3, you've got to figure out what a crypto wallet is, what private keys are, what the heck gas fees mean. It's a massive learning curve. And it makes this thing that's supposed to be for everyone feel super exclusive and hard to get into. And this might be the biggest reason of all. Web3 isn't a finished product. It's not something you can just go out and buy. The best way to think about it is like the internet back in the 1990s. Remember that? It was clunky, it was slow, it was super confusing, but you could just feel the potential. That's where Web3 is right now. It's in that really early, really messy, but exciting stage of evolution. All right, we've gone through the history, we've talked about why it's so confusing. So now let's boil it all down to the aha moment. What is the single biggest, simplest difference between the web we use every day and the one Web3 is trying to build? Let's make it super, super simple. This timeline really lays it all out perfectly. Think about it. Back in the 90s, we had Web 1. That was the read-only web. You could look at stuff, but that was about it. Then, in the mid-2000s, Web 2 arrived. That's the read and write web of social media and blogs. We could all participate. So, what's the next step? Web 3. The vision is for a read, write, and own web. That last word, own, that's the game changer. And if that timeline didn't do it, this comparison chart makes it crystal clear. Just look at the difference in every single row. In Web 2, companies have control. In Web 3, users do. In Web 2, platforms own your data. In Web 3, you own your data. Even how you log in changes, from a password you trust a company with to a crypto wallet that only you can access. See, this isn't just a small update. This is a complete paradigm shift in how the internet is structured. So yeah, the vision is incredible, it's powerful. But let's hit the brakes for a second and get a little reality check. As awesome as all the sounds, this user-owned internet, it's not here yet. Not by a long shot. There are still some huge hurdles to get over. And that road ahead is definitely a bumpy one. For starters, that complexity we mentioned, that's a massive barrier. If it's not easy to use, people won't use it. The open system is also, unfortunately, a perfect breeding ground for scams. Plus, the tech itself, the blockchain, can be way slower than what we're used to. And on top of all that, governments around the world are still scratching their heads, trying to figure out how to even regulate this stuff. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Think of Web3 not as a place we've arrived at, but as the direction we're heading. It's a really powerful vision for the next chapter of the web for sure, but it is absolutely a work in progress. Which leaves us all with the big, multi-billion-dollar question. Is Web3 really the future? Is it the next chapter of the internet that finally gives power back to the people? Or is it just another tech buzzword that's going to fizzle out? The honest answer is, we don't know yet. The story is being written right now, in real time. And however it turns out, it's going to decide who's in charge of our digital world for a long, long time.